So today we're on GBP USD. I'm going to be doing a brief how-to on drawing market zones. So most of market zones are basically regions of support and resistance, places where price has found support or places that price has rejected off of multiple times, and even more especially resistance turn support. So we first of all look for a range that price has rejected off of multiple times, like here. Right about here. You can see that price has found support at this level, and even at 100 time resistance at this level. So this becomes our zone. And you essentially just repeat this very same process. You can see that at this level, price has resisted this level multiple times. And even though price has broken past this price, even though price broke past it here, you can see that when price came down, price still came back to show this level of respect. Price even came up and retraced off of that level. So this tells you that this is another relevant market zone. And so you basically just keep doing that. Right around here, you can see that there's a level resistance that became support. Price found resistance at that level, and the level still later acted as support. So this would be another one of our market zones. Whenever we also have regions like the highest high or lowest low that price has gotten to, we usually also mark those out as our market zones. After all, the highest point that price has gotten to is most often a zone. Okay, so around here we can see that price has found resistance, has become support, and has become resistance around this zone multiple times. You can also see that price has found support on this level more than twice, at least twice I mean. So each of these levels would act as our market zones. So what is it that makes a region not considered a market zone? Well, obviously, whenever a region, if you cannot find support and resistance, if you cannot find a region where if price has not found support on that level multiple times, resistance on that level multiple times, or support that turns into resistance, such as here, you can see resistance which became support. So you can see that this makes this a very valid level, because price found resistance here and later on found support on this level. But there are other conditions that make a zone which might otherwise be valid to become invalid, and that is if price breaks through the level once and twice without giving any respect. Now, for more context, you can see that price broke through this level here, but because price came back to show respect before jumping back up. That tells us that even though price broke this level is still valid. But assuming that price just went straight through this level like this, that will start to call into question whether or not this trend line is, whether or not this market zone is valid. But of course, that alone will not be enough for us to say it's no longer valid. But if price were to come up here without giving it any respect, and then to come back down here again without giving it any respect, then this zone that price has passed through, not just once but twice, without even showing it the slightest bit of respect, that zone becomes invalid. So yeah, that's basically it. That's basically it. A short take on market zones. The method for drawing market psychological levels, I mean, is basically identical to drawing market zones. The only real difference between psychological levels and market zones is that usually on psychological levels you round them up to the closest whole number. In fact, it's not at all a faulty practice. So there's nothing wrong with rounding off this guy to the closest whole number, which would be 36. You can see that price has remained. You can see that it even fits a little bit better. Similar to here. Actually drew it perfectly on the one dot. Actually drew it perfectly on that level. That's amazing. Anyways, usually I don't bother to correct it to the nearest whole number when I'm drawing market zones because of how wide the price range is. After market zones are not just a single line, but they are a region of price. So I just use lines because I prefer to mark them out with a single line rather than using a gray box. But if you're marking out psychological levels, because within the definition of psychological levels is whole numbers that price responds to, the price gravitates towards. So when drawing psychological levels, when drawing psychological levels, after marking out, let's say we have a zone here, it's clearly a zone here. So after marking out our market zone here, let's make it blue, or let's make it green, because we're talking about psychological levels now. After marking out our market zone here, we will draw a line to fit it. This should be our psychological level. So our psychological level has to be rounded up to the closest whole number, which would be 400. And then we delete this. And then this would now be you can see that at this specific point here, price responds quite well to the market zone. So yeah, that's basically it.